Someone asked Jack Nicklaus why he never choked. 18 major championships, more than anyone in history, and in almost every one of them, when the tournament came down to the final holes, Nicklaus was the one applying pressure, not absorbing it. He held the lead after 3 rounds in 12 majors. He won 10 of them. So the question made sense. How did he do it? What was different about his mind? His answer wasn't what anyone expected. It wasn't about blocking out fear. It wasn't about deep breathing or visualization or any technique you could practice in a weekend seminar. It was 4 words, and they reveal something most people never understand about the difference between talent and greatness. In the summer of 1955, a group of teenage golfers sat around eating lunch between rounds of the Ohio JC's tournament. Someone asked the table what they wanted to be when they grew up. The answers were predictable: doctors, lawyers, teachers, police officers. Then they turned to the 15-year-old whose name was posted at the top of the leaderboard. Jack Nicklaus didn't hesitate. With a hamburger in one hand and a hot dog in the other, he looked up and said, "The greatest golfer who ever lived." The other boys probably laughed, but Nicklaus wasn't joking. He'd been playing competitive golf since age 10. By 13, he could break 70 from the back tees at Scioto Country Club, the same course where Bobby Jones won the 1926 U.S. Open. His teacher, Jack Grout, used to grab the front of young Jackie's hair, hold it tight, and make him swing without moving his head. Sometimes the boy cried. He kept swinging anyway. Grout would tell him, "Jackie, young fella, you're going to be unbeatable. You hear me? Unbeatable." This wasn't arrogance, it was architecture. Nicklaus was building something in his mind that would take decades to complete, and unlike most teenagers who dream of greatness, he never revised the blueprint. 7 years later, Nicklaus stood on the first tee at Oakmont Country Club. It was the 1962 U.S. Open playoff, 18 holes to decide the national championship. His opponent was Arnold Palmer, the most beloved golfer in the world, playing 45 minutes from his hometown in front of 20,000 fans who wanted Nicklaus to fail. The day before, those fans had called him Fat Jack and Ohio Fats. They cheered when he missed putts. They'd stamped their feet while he stood over the ball, trying to shake the ground beneath him. One reporter said covering the tournament felt like covering a lynching. Nicklaus's father, Charlie, nearly got into a fistfight in the gallery. His neck was bulging, face turning red. Woody Hayes, the Ohio State football coach, had to hold him back. And now, just before the biggest round of his young career, Palmer walked over and made him an offer. "Do you want to split the purse?" It was common practice at the time. First place paid $15,000, second paid $8,000. Palmer was proposing they guarantee each man $11,500 regardless of outcome. Reduce the stakes, take the edge off. Nicklaus paused for exactly 1 second. "No thanks, why don't we just play for it?" He was 22 years old. He had never won a professional tournament. He was standing in enemy territory against a living legend who'd won 5 majors, and he refused to blur the line between first place and second. Palmer wasn't happy. Who the hell did this rookie think he was? That day, Nicklaus shot 71. Palmer shot 74. On the first hole alone, Nicklaus's drive traveled 34 yards past Palmer's. Tom Weiskopf was in the gallery and watched Palmer see it land. His head went up, Weiskopf said, a double take almost. The fat kid from Ohio became the youngest U.S. Open champion since Bobby Jones. Years later, Nicklaus's son Jackie caddied for him at the Masters. On the 4th green at Augusta National, Jack stood over a 4-foot putt. The gallery was silent. A thick wall of bamboo trees separated the green from a nearby intersection, maybe 25 yards away. Then, screeching tires, a hard skid that lasted several seconds, a loud crash, a car accident. Everyone in the gallery flinched. Jackie looked up toward the street, then back at his father. Jack never lifted his head. He continued with his stroke, made the putt, picked the ball out of the cup, and handed it to his son along with the putter. Jackie asked him, "Dad, did you not hear that?" Nicklaus looked at him, genuinely confused. "Hear what? What are you talking about?" At another tournament, Jackie spotted Mike Ditka, the legendary Chicago Bears coach, standing near the tee box, smiling and waving at them. Jackie knew his father loves football, loved Ditka, but Jack hit his tee shot, marched off, and said nothing. "Dad, that was Mike Ditka." Nicklaus snapped out of his trance. "What? Where? I love Mike." He'd looked right through him, never saw him at all. Jackie spent years trying to understand this. He even hired Dr. Bob Rotella, the famous sports psychologist, and brought his father a list of questions about concentration. How do you block everything out? How do you stay in the present when the pressure is highest? Jack's response? "If I have to concentrate, I just do it. If I need to shout, I just do it." Jackie pressed him. "Dad, you aren't really helping me." Jack shrugged. "That's the best answer I can give you." What Jackie eventually realized was that his father couldn't explain what he did because, to him, it wasn't a technique. It was simply who he was. The focus wasn't manufactured, it was the architecture, the same blueprint he'd been building since he was 15 years old. That phrase, "I just do it," sounds dismissive, but what Nicklaus meant was that his internal voice never fought against him. When pressure rose, his self-talk stayed fixed on the task, not the consequence. No second guessing, no spiraling. Most people don't have that. Their mind fills with noise the moment stakes get high. The voice turns hostile. If you want a structured way to train that voice, to practice directing your thoughts before pressure hits, there's an app called affirmations.app. It's a daily ritual for building the kind of internal clarity Nicklaus seemed to carry naturally. Link in the description. Now, back to the question that started all of this. Someone asked Nicklaus directly, "How is it you never seem to choke?" His answer, "Because I'm not afraid to win." The person corrected him, "Don't you mean you aren't afraid to lose?" "No, I'm not afraid to win. Anyone can lose. It's easy, but it takes courage to win. Because when you win, you separate yourself from your competitors. You become the standard." This is the part most people miss. Choking isn't usually about fearing failure. Deep down, it's about fearing success, the exposure that comes with it, the isolation, the target on your back, the weight of defending what you've claimed. Winning means standing alone. It means becoming the person everyone else measures themselves against. And for most people, somewhere in their nervous system, that feels dangerous. The body tightens, the stroke shortens, the mind floods with doubt. Nicklaus felt none of that. He wanted to be the standard. He'd been building toward it since he was 15 years old, eating a hamburger and telling a table of strangers exactly who he intended to become. He didn't fear separation, he sought it. Fuzzy Zeller once pulled Jackie aside during the final round at the Memorial Tournament. They were walking down the 9th fairway, and Fuzzy said something strange. "Jackie, this is fun." Jackie asked what he meant. "I've played with your dad a few times when he gets into this mode, this trance, this gear, whatever you want to call it. He goes to a different place than any of us can. I'm supposed to be competing with him, but frankly, I'm sitting back and watching it because this is so much fun." That's what 18 Majors looks like from the other side of the fairway. Not a man grinding through fear. A man who built his entire identity around the willingness to separate himself and never once flinched from the loneliness that required. After the 1977 Open Championship at Turnberry, Tom Watson beat Nicklaus by a single stroke in what many call the greatest duel in golf history. They were tied going to the final hole. Watson made birdie. Nicklaus made par. They shook hands on the 18th green. Nicklaus said, "Tom, I gave you my best shot, and it wasn't good enough." Watson later said hearing that from Nicklaus was one of the most meaningful moments of his career, because even in defeat, Nicklaus wasn't diminished. He'd prepared fully, he'd competed fully, he'd been willing to win. This time, someone else simply played better. That's the difference. Most people are afraid to want it that badly, afraid of what happens if they try with everything and still fail, afraid of what happens if they try with everything and succeed. Jack Nicklaus was afraid of neither, and that's why he never choked.